All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Thursday, June 17th pre-market. Looks like we got things up and running, technological issues smoothing out over time. I looked up some of the mic issues that I'm having, and I think that I also have those resolved. So it's been a lot of fun live streaming so far. And for those of you who have joined me and those of you who are watching these, if you have any feedback for me, please leave it in the comments. Remember, if there's stocks that you want to see, just pop in and have me look up the ticker. We can see if it's one that I follow. We can talk more in depth about it. If it's one that I don't follow, we can at least see the recent action that's going on. Today we have just some great volume in the pre-market, and the one that I am particularly excited about is KULR because the volume for the off-peak hours for the market that we have before even the market opens are competing with its highest of volumes that it has during its regular trading hours. So that's something we're going to look at today. Let me go ahead and bring up the chart. All right, so I mentioned that it was KULR, so that ticker symbol, and I have a video that just released for it, so you can go ahead and take a look at that and see what I have to say about it. There we go. Also, Fisker's on there, and so is Torchlight with they recently did a share offering that's really going to press it down. This one, there you go. You can see some of those volumes, which they might not look too significant, but look at how they compared to the trading day yesterday. So during the regular hours, and then we have these huge volume spikes relative to what we see during the rest of the trading day here. So what happened was they had an SEC filing that said that they got approval to send their battery containers that they make onto on aircraft. And well, that's huge for them because for prototyping, for example, it means that they can get the products from point A to point B faster, which means that we have faster prototyping, fewer delays. And this is a company that I think I heard about a while ago and didn't really pay a whole lot of attention to it. This is mostly a momentum thing that we're looking at with this igniting volume that we have during the pre-market hours. So when I look at it this way, I don't talk about it fundamentally. I mean, it seems like from the products that they make that they are pretty cool products. I don't know how much of theirs is proprietary. I don't know where they're positioned in their own space, like how many other people do safety products for the transport of lithium-ion batteries. I don't have an answer to that one. But they do have a website that's a pretty cool looking website, and they got some cool sounding products, and it would be neat to find out how they really are positioned within the market and the sort of outlook that they have. Actually, analyst estimates, even at its current price, we're still trading below the 12-month price target for the low one out of the two analysts that are on this. So one says $3.50, the other one says $5. Meeting in the middle puts us at $4.25. We got some decent buy side pressure coming up on the market open. And right now it's outdoing what we see on the sell side of this. I think that with the volume that we see, that this really, as long as it's not muted too much by overall market pressure. So if the market's down, then that's going to hold some downward pressure on this, and it's going to mute any sort of action that it could have. But getting into this, we could have a little bit of profit taking right off the bat, even though a lot of this I think already settled. And it's kind of good that it didn't stay up top, because then we'd have a long way to fall. Now we have much less room to fall back down to these prices that we were at. So a lot of the risk has come back out of that. But like I said, with these volumes that we have, these are excellent for seeing that we have some pretty cool momentum going for this one. So here, just to give you an idea, so this is the daily chart. The total daily volume that we have for this day right here, which is one of the higher days that I had in the higher run-ups in price, that's 1 million shares traded. And if we go back to, we'll do the hourly chart so it consolidates some of those trading volumes for us. If we look at this tall one right here, that's 1.5 million during the pre-market, and this candle right here during the previous hour, 650,000. So between those two, we have 2 million shares traded in the pre-market just between those two. And I think we're going to see some really good volume coming out of this today. There you go. AMC. All right, Naveen. Yeah, we'll take a look at that. I have a little succulent plant that's here on my desk, and it's blocking the clock on my computer. I gotta move that. So 9:26. So let's go to. I don't want to go there. I want to go here to AMC. There we go. All right. Well, this is nice to see in the level 2 here. Around 53, 57 is when we hit that support wall that we have, where there's a lot of buy side pressure from that, and it looks like we have a decent amount of resistance relative to what we see for that. Ooh, this is really moving for us as we ramp up to this and see where we're currently sitting. Sort of at the same lows as what we saw in yesterday's regular trading hours. And let me look at the volume that we've had recently as well. All right, so comparatively to this run up that we had back here when it went up to over $77 per share, we're right now sort of seeing that settling volume. But the nice thing is that the price isn't really coming back down yet. So the apes in this, among which I've shown solidarity by holding on to my position in this as well. And I'm out money right now because I bought in around $57 a share. But it's not about the money for this. It's about equitable opportunities in the marketplace. So getting rid of unfair practices that would happen through like naked shorting and doing things like that where we couldn't do it. So let's go down to 30-minute. There we go. So according to the RSI, we're still down in bearish territory. We have peaked up over 50, and depending on what we see as the market opens, this could drop a little bit for us. We are a little bit in between support and resistance there. It looks like we came down just a little bit below the 200 period exponential moving average that we have on this 30-minute chart that we're looking at for yesterday. So we'll see when we open if that's going to act as an area of support for us and whether or not this 50-period simple moving average is going to act as resistance for us. I just want to take a look at the overall shape and see what we have going on here. So 51. So I think if you look on the hedge fund side of this, that they're a little bit more knowledgeable than they were, and they're not going to be caught in the same way that Melvin Capital was with GameStop. We could have a little bit more distribution, so that the squeeze could take a little bit more effort. We did make it 2 days ago up to almost $65 per share, and we did so on pretty decent volume. So this could be settling again. We could still have people that are using this for profit opportunities, which, well, it's the stock market, so that's understandable. We are coming up on the opening bell here. So I think staying above 50 for AMC is going to be important for us. The most important thing is that people hold on long enough and buy up their shares enough that it makes it difficult for the people with short positions to cover their position, where they have to keep on scraping at whatever prices that they can get in order to cover their positions as we move forward. All right, AMC today and for this next week. All right, so I'm just catching up on the conversation here. Okay, so for Alan Peter Kennedy. So hello, Alan, and what are your thoughts on AMC? All right, so sort of talking about it, there we have market open here. Decent start. Let's see if we come up and we tag this line here, the 50-period simple moving average at 55.44, so right around there. Got the level 2 going here. Wow. Just had a big dump in shares going on here. There we go. And here you keep on getting sell side orders, so we're going to have a decent amount of downward pressure. We're going to see if the buyers come in and match that over time. Let's go down to a lower time frame. All right. So on the 5-minute chart from the pre-market, it looks like 51.70. These higher volume times are going to be a little bit more telling about where we see things, but we did see that bottom about there yesterday as well. So right now we're staying in between the moving averages. Look where the top of that red candle is on the 5-minute, just coming up and touching that line. and then look where we're sitting about now. We'll see how it plays out over this time, but we're also hitting about that. So that could give us a little bit of a range on the 5-minute window during these really, we'll call them battle-tested early market hours that we have. I'm going to take a look at Fisker because this is one that I was talking about today in my video that I released earlier. So for them, they have some more positive news out about an ongoing partnership that they just finalized, a deal that I think they started back in October of last year. And it was, I think it's a Canadian company, and the name's lost on me for right now. But what they're doing is using already established industry experts in order to help produce the Fisker Ocean. And right now they put a price tag on it of, I think it was $37,500. And I think I recall that they said they were shooting for 30,000. So maybe some of the news of that coming out at a slightly higher price tag than anticipated, or maybe I'm thinking of a different model. But for Fisker, this is one that I think is going to produce a really quality product, and that they're taking all the right steps in order to ensure that they meet their production quality as well as their production numbers when they actually do get to production on the Ocean. And that is in, I think they said November 2022 is the expected time for that to come out. And the nice thing then is that we have a little bit more maturation in the EV space and also in at least the United States infrastructure. And I believe they're out of Norway. And well, global infrastructure, I should say, as far as EVs go. But I know that they're looking for sale in US. I believe that they're also selling it in Germany. I'd imagine Norway would also be there because that's where they're native to. So yeah, I do like the look of Fisker and the analyst estimates on this one. We are below the average for the 10 estimates that are on this, well below what we have for the high price, but we're about 77% above where the low analyst estimate puts us. There's KULR. Check this out. Bring up the chart. So in the pre-market, they went up to, what, $5.42. And their volume that they've had was pretty awesome. So they're already at almost 12 million shares traded. And this on the daily chart is going to just dwarf all the other candles that they have. The area of support for this one, when I was looking at it earlier, is somewhere between $2.50 to $2.75. So staying up above that is going to be good for us. Right now, it looks like we have a little bit of sideways trading right around like the 285 or so up to about 295. So we have like that 10-cent range. And there are, I mean, if we get into these volumes here, there we go. We have decent volume here in the pre-market hours. So what they got is approval from the U.S. Department of Transportation in order to use aircrafts to transport their battery safety technologies for moving around prototype lithium-ion batteries. So allowing companies to receive the materials that they need sooner for their research and sort of facilitating that lithium-ion battery movement, and also thereby accelerating some of the technology improvements and the infrastructure that we would also have going with that. So we'll see their highest price. I think they have two different peaks of like around $2.95, and we're currently trading below that. So we'll see if there's enough upward pressure on this one in order to make that happen. I see somebody mentioned good morning, Angelito, and Coupang. I'll check that out in just a moment. I wanted to pop this open to see where the markets are going right now. So NASDAQ sitting about even from yesterday. Let me see. Dow up about 0.1%. All right, so nothing too concerning, at least as far as the overall markets go. There you go. All right, we'll see where this ends up falling down to. Let's go to Coupang. All right, so 38.58, so reasonable price. I think that I have my position for Coupang at about $36. So I'm a little bit in the green on this one, and this is a long-term play for me. So the thing about Coupang is really that they're really awesome for the markets and the rocket delivery system that they have within South Korea. And I believe that Singapore, I think Singapore is the other country that they're trying to make it into. I'd have to look back at my notes on that one. And really, it's a matter of, can they be successful in other countries as well? And they are also up against significant larger competition. So for them, it's about taking a larger part of the market share. They're called or they're referred to sometimes as like the Amazon of South Korea, and that they want to be like the everything shopping service for South Korea. So right now they're having a fairly strong start, given from where they were at, where they bottomed out at in the pre-market. Let's go to a higher time frame. All right, I'm just getting a feel for the volumes that we have some decent volume here compared to what we had in previous days. We're back to like these two volumes as this is shaping up. What is that high price? $42. All right, analyst estimates on this are actually, so we're getting close to the low. The average analyst estimate on this is $44.83. Looks like there's a lot of holds on this and just a couple buy ratings up to that $62. And we have a decent amount of sell side pressure here. Got a nice little stair stepper, it looks like, going on. But right now, these two support and resist that we have, keeping it in a pretty narrow range price-wise. Okay, we'll go back in. All right, so you're going, it looks like right up about this top here, around, what, 38.67-ish or so 38.70. So trying to break up above that, and maybe these averages being so close together on the, what are we on, the 30-minute chart, that could be resistance for us. So getting up over that could be something that would really help drive them a little bit higher. The RSI that we're looking at, they just crossed over 50, so we're back to bullish there. And if you look at the MACD, we're actually nearing a buy signal here on the MACD as well. We'll zoom out so you can see a little bit more of that. There we go. All right. Good morning, Tarek. Chris, do you disclose your full account value? How much do you put in weekly? Excellent. So, Chris, on my Patreon, I have my growth portfolio over there, and I have my dividend portfolio over there. So if you're over there, you can see the combined account values that I have between those. On here in WEBULL, what I have disclosed is the amount that I have from the free shares that I've received. And I also did the $100 initial deposit when I first opened up my account. So that $100 plus the free shares that I received, and that currently sits around like $1,700 or $1,800. This is sort of a relatively small channel, growing all the time, of course. And how much do I put in weekly? So for my overall portfolio, I do, well, if we're talking about regular deposits, I do regular deposits of about $100 to $200 weekly. But then any other money that I get from things that I have, such as that I would get from the YouTube videos or that I would get from my Patreon, that money also gets taken over and put into my total portfolio and then distributed across the different ones that I have. So I tend to do a lot of longer term investing with the safer investments, and then my growth portfolio is a smaller one because I don't want to over risk and put my family's financial well-being at greater stake there. So as far as total account value, I don't disclose anything outside of WEBULL, growth portfolio, dividend portfolio. And it's just, it's a comfort thing for me. And as this channel ages, I might change my philosophy on that. I have only been public with this stuff since December. And I know other people, other YouTubers are much more comfortable and cavalier about putting those numbers out there. I do because I sort of realized over time that it's a move for credibility. So it's something that I go back and forth on disclosing everything that I have investment-wise versus the stuff that I've already put out there that I'm kind of I know it's weird to be on YouTube and say this, but I'm sort of a private individual. And, you know, as far as like asking people about how much money they have or talking about how much money I have, those are two things that before doing anything YouTube, I just wouldn't have done. And the stuff that I do share is because I feel as though it needs to be shared here. Hey Rex, good morning to you. Foresee us getting a good pullback there next few weeks. Well, so Rex, to answer your question, give me 1 second here. I want to click on that before I forget because I want to go back to solar. So about the pullback, I mean, the markets are up right now, and we hear from the Fed that the financial practices that they have in place to mitigate any sort of long-term inflation, and the talk about not increasing rates for a little while. The market seemed to actually take that pretty well, I thought. Yeah, we were down for a time. If you look at the markets from yesterday, right around that 2 o'clock hour when Jerome Powell was about to speak, we had a sharp fall off across the Dow, the Nasdaq, the S&P, and a little bit of volatility and up and down in the markets. And then towards the market close, we fairly recovered everything that we lost from the time that he started speaking until market close. So taking that information well, I don't know. We would have to see some really big inflation numbers, I think, and things that would be signs against the idea that inflation is transitory, not in order for us to see a big dip. With that said, about a pullback, if we see more rotations out of certain industries or sectors, I think that you're going to find sort of pocket dips, if you want to call it that. So like areas, just like we saw with the high growth companies and what we saw with like the EV plays and stuff like that, where all those prices just got pushed down so hard from where they were at in the February highs. I think we're going to see more of that rotation. I don't know if we'll see it to such a large extent, and I'm not totally certain where it's going to show up next. I did say for a while, like with the value stocks and the bank stocks and the energy stocks, that's where, like in February, like when I started my dividend portfolio for my Patreon, I started it February 1st. There was some good value to be found there. And the growth that I've had in that dividend portfolio since that time is evidence of that. But then as we started to get into April and May, we kept on getting more news and more sell-offs. And I'm like, there's not that much value left. These prices are already sitting pretty high. And so right now, those buying opportunities, I think that they're going to come along a little bit slower until we find out the next area where we have that big push to sell things off. Angelito, TTOO. I'll get to that one in just a moment. I wanted to check out Sunrun. So in my videos a few weeks back, I looked at solar stocks, and I said that solar stocks are one of those areas that haven't recovered like the rest of high growth and tech. And so I think finally we're seeing some of that growth come into solar. And look at the volume difference that we have here on Sunrun. And I want to see. Let's go to something like Solar Edge. There we go. So somewhat of a similar chart, and a little bit similar with what we saw in the volumes. Looks like they keep on ending the day on big volume on Solar Edge. Let's go to the Invesco Solar Etf. The ticker symbol TAN. No problem, Rex. Yeah, so you can. There's that big dip, and we still have sort of the same run up, and we have that another big old green candle right here. Win for solar. Check out the news ETF. 1% potential cloudy days. Looks like Benzinga had something out about that a day ago. That might be worth reading if you guys want to check it out. Let me see. Well, there you go. They start finally talking about some technical signs that we have for like TAN ETF. And I'm not going to sit here and read through this thing. Here, this channel is more about bringing things to light and like talking about different opportunities that I see. And absolutely none of it can be taken as financial advice because I'm not a financial advisor. But I do go through and I try to find those areas of opportunity throughout the day. Orphazine, this one was also considered a meme stock, I think out of Denmark. and you can see the run up that it had yesterday, peaking at 23.90, and it looks like we're finally regaining some of that momentum here as well. Yeah, check this out. This had people dumbfounded on what exactly happened. I don't know if this is an example of a short squeeze or a gamma squeeze that we had back here when it popped up to $77.77. It's a lot of sevens. But we had another nice pop in here up to 23.90, so about a third of that high price from what we saw before. And now it looks like we're making another run for it today. So if this is one that you've been tracking as an intraday trade or a swing trade, if you've been watching this channel over the past couple of days when I've mentioned it, today could be another very good day for you. What else we got? Oh, ABML, they've I wonder if they have more news out, because they've actually been making some traction. I think I checked this out yesterday and I didn't see any specific news right off the bat. I've found that a really good place if you want to know what's going on with American Battery Technologies is, instead of trying to go through the news here or even through their own website, which isn't the greatest of websites, instead go to Twitter, put in a $, and type in ABML. And when you do that, you'll want to go to latest, so that way it's not giving you all the top ones, although you can pick through the top ones because it does take out some of the garbage that you might find. But if you go to latest and pick through it yourself, sometimes you can find some reason to attribute why it's moving the way it is. Hey, KULR Technologies, by the way, they were rocking about 20% up. It looks like they're finally catching on here. Maybe they're going to start turning things around. Let's go down to 5 minutes. I'll come back to ABML. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. So where are we sitting here? So from the bottom of these, the bottom of this candle's 279. It came down and it tagged the 200 period EMA, in this case at the 5 minute level. So where's that sitting? About $2.70. So I said that area of support that we saw was like 250 to 275. And it looks like using that as the resistance might actually work. It even falls within that area that I was talking about. And now let's see if the, yeah, look up here. We need that body of the candle to close up above the 50 period simple moving average in order to keep its rise going. Right now, where are we at? We're at 949. So this candle should be finishing soon. If it breaks up above that, we're in good shape. If not, it could pull back down on us. So I hope if somebody got a chance to watch my video when it dropped at 9:15, I hope that you were able to get in, and I hope that it's something that you weren't tagged out on yet, and that you're able to turn this into something, you know, something profitable. You know, whether it's me who makes the money, of course I'd celebrate that, or if it's any of you guys who make any of the money because I was able to bring something to light for you, and you were able to make a decision based off of what you figured out for yourself from that. You know, that's absolutely wonderful. All right, back to ABML. So this is one that we've talked about a lot in the Patreon. So it's had quite a run up. Actually, let's go out even farther. Where are we at? We need the daily chart on this one. There we go. So it's had quite a run up, almost to $5 per share, and that was around mid-February or so, like a lot of the other high growth plays. And this one's super high risk. So, oh man, that's a beautiful chart pattern there. Look how well that played out. I'll talk about that in a moment. But in any case, we had tech and high growth sell off, and this one looks like it started turning things around earlier than the rest, because May 13th was actually sort of an important day for that to take place. And by the time we got to May 13th for this one, we were already consolidated a little bit higher. The question for ABML is whether or not they're going to be able to take their lithium battery recycling and actually scale it up the way that they say they will, and actually really turn a profit out of it. So that's big questions right now. They don't have their facility built yet in Fernley, Nevada, but they do have permits from Fernley, which are some of the permits that they need in order to start their construction. So yeah, look at this. Let me zoom in. this little flag pattern that we have here. So we have a flagpole and then a relatively long flag coming off of that, another flagpole, more solid sideways movement. It is possible that this could start breaking out again. It is nice that we are up above the 200 period, 200-day moving average and up above the 50, and they're both positively sloped. Those are all bullish signs for us. Let's see if there's any news that's been reported. Top mining stocks for Q3 2021. I got a shout out from Investopedia. Not too bad. Announces acquisitions and recordings of 2 additional water rights. Excellent. So we do have a couple catalysts that are going on. Access Wire is going to be PR stuff, and we want that PR coming out from ABML to keep us updated, to let us know that we are still on track. Look at AMC popping up. We're up, hitting about 20%. I'm sorry, this isn't AMC. This is this is. I was looking at the name here. I wasn't looking at the symbol that was over here. There you go. Let's go back out over here. So whatever this is, kudos. It's having a great day. EVFM. I talked about this one in one of my live streams a while ago, or maybe it was in my pre-market, one of my pre-market recordings. It has come back to close this gap that we've had here. Excellent. We do need it to trade up above the 50 period simple moving average that we have here. Right now, it's still acting as resistance. And we also have this to contend with over here that's going to act as resistance for us. And that's over the history of it. Look at that downward slope. Taking a position in this right now with that sort of bearish look to it, I mean, yeah, it might be breaking out, but we want better confirmation. The volume's a good thing. This could be turning around for us. And the analyst estimates, which actually I think it even got downgraded recently, are still considerably higher than where it's trading at right now. So if you look at the analyst estimates, it could double and make the low one, and that's out of 5 analysts that are covering this. I think one of the price targets went from like $9 down to $6, so a 33% drop in the price target for EVFM. And if you look at their profile, they make their healthcare pharmaceuticals, and you can read about it. Let me see. There you go. They make products to address needs of women's sexual and reproductive health, including hormone-free, woman-controlled contraception and protection from sexually transmitted infections. So you can read about what they do. I don't know anything fundamentally about this company. I'd imagine because of the prices that they're trading at right now, that their future outlook isn't totally solid, or it's not really something that people are sold on yet. It could be that there's just a lot of downward pressure going along with the trend, that people are short selling this. Let's see if we have any short interest numbers coming on this. I mean, we have fairly, let's see. What date are we looking at here? I hate that these dates lag so far behind. There's got to be a better way to have those sort of metrics. Yeah, I would say that we have a significant amount of downward pressure from the short interest on this stock, and that could be one of those reasons why we see that the price down as far as it is, given the analyst estimates that we have. So this might be something to look into further, given how high the analyst estimates are on it, and the contradiction that we have in the trend based on the price targets, and what exactly is happening with their share price. This could be one of those times that it has reached bottom and it's going to start reversing on us. More research would tell us those things. All right, Will, what are your thoughts on Jumia Technologies? Let's check them out. All right, Steve, I'm going to have to check into the dark pool volume on AMC. That would be an excellent thing to know. Let me just make sure I have Jumia here right for Will. So technology, software, IT services, German-based company specializes in e-commerce. Perfect. And operates online marketplace for African consumers to buy and sell goods. Okay. All right, so we got the daily chart up here and a very similar looking chart, even if we match up the dates, which this is my first time looking at Jumia. But yeah, this sell-off matches exactly what we've seen. And this green candle here, boy, they really bottomed out that day. Low $17.90, and they had a high of $70 per share. Let's go out to the weekly. I want to see more of what this chart looks like. Okay, so it looks like 215, and then its luck changed after that. Where are we at? Okay, so middle of the pandemic, that makes sense. Big run up with the double top resist in August, and then I'm just trying to match up some of the other times that we have here. Yeah. Well, some of the good things that we see with their price. So it did have that run up along with a lot of other stocks having the run up. Came right back down with a lot of the other big sell-offs. Again, very sensible. And it turned things around for the last time around May 13th. And it actually has a little bit of a trail off. If you were in yesterday's live stream, we actually saw a lot of the same. Oops, I meant to go to the daily chart. Let's zoom out from that. We actually saw a lot of this same look where we have this this run up from about middle of May until about where we see it at here. So into the first week or end of the first week of June, and then a slow sell-off from there. On the daily chart, we have a slight negative slope to the 200 period EMA, and then definitely a negative slope for the 50. So that could act as, I mean, if you look right here for these past couple of days since we started trading below versus when we're trading above, so the 200 period EMA was support, but then we broke below it. Then it was acting as resistance, and now we're currently trading below resistance. Definitely has a strong start to the day today. What are we up here? Up about 5%, not bad. And it looks like from yesterday was, wow, that's a barcode if I've ever seen one. So from yesterday's support, right around like 2760 or 2750 or so. And look how well at market open, we came down and we tagged that line, which matches up with what we saw yesterday and what we saw with the close the day before. So that could be a reliable support for us. As a matter of fact, if we look at the body of this candle closing up above the 50 period SMA that we have here, if this does run up, it could run up to meet this 200 period EMA coming down this way. Let's get a closer look. Yeah, Steve on Zip Trader, Charlie, I think is the guy's name. He's awesome. I think he's incredible. And yeah, he seems to really know his stuff when it comes to the dark pool side of things. And he's absolutely right. There's so much that can be done off the markets that we can't even see. And that's one of the places where the bigger institutions and the bigger money can find liquidity that they wouldn't otherwise find in the regular market. And that happening off of what we would see here, we don't have anything to do about it, and we don't have any access to those dark pools. And the thing is that they're called dark pools for a reason. They're going to obscure our view of it as best they can. And, you know, we won't see the, I mean, we'll see the impacts on the surface, but we won't know a lot of what happens going on underneath that. So, I mean, honestly, big money protecting big money, it makes a lot of sense from the big money standpoint. So I can totally see that being something that would actually happen. All right, so this is Jumia in the short term that we have here. Our volume staying pretty consistent. Level 2, 2960. Looks like where we're hitting a lot of buy side pressure, and on the sell side pressure. On the buy side, 2850, and where we're at now, 2915. So, and it's not moving super rapidly for us. Sometimes these are hard to track because they bounce around so much. As soon as I have my cursor on it, it moves again. You can see those volumes and how many shares. So we have almost 9,000 shares waiting to be purchased right at about that level. And on the sell side, we have orders for, there you go. What is that, like 5,700 shares or so? Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit slower moving on us, and that's not too bad. Higher time frame, 30-minute. Yeah, so I like this large body green bar. I like this volume that we have on it. It's over any of the volumes that we had yesterday. So the momentum over a longer time frame could be playing out for us. If this stays a narrow range candle for us here, that it doesn't penetrate too deeply to signal that we had a double top resist. Instead, that could be a signal to us that it's going to move up higher as we move further into the trading day. So this is going to be the important candle, and this is the 30-minute chart that I'm looking at for that. All right, ORPH. Chris, I'm just reading what you're saying there. There we go. All right, let's check out what they said about the FDA. Orphazyme spares 95% in afternoon trading on eve of FDA. There you go. Danish biopharma Orphazyme have taken off yet again. There we go. There they're talking about the rally that I had before, and led in large part by the Reddit community. Although the stock came back, so 300% of the next time. Make or break catalyst Thursday in the form of a PDUFA decision. Date for its. Okay, yeah, I was reading about this before. The Niemann-Pick disease, type C, a rare progressive neurodegenerative disease. Okay, these neurodegenerative diseases, I've had friends and family members affected by those, and they're ugly. I mean, just tragic. So having a company that would work on those and preventing them or treating them, that's something that people are going to stand behind there, and that's a good thing from a trading perspective, because people do have some people a strong code of ethics when it comes to the things that they're willing to trade versus what they're not willing to trade. A one-trick pony. So that's something like when they say make or break and one-trick pony. This would have to go well through the FDA decision, or it goes very badly through the FDA decision. So if the FDA has not decided yet, then that could really, you could either see this thing take off in a big way, or if we end up selling the news today, then we could watch it going down. So actually right now, yeah, they're actually already down 5%. So either the news came out or we're selling in anticipation of the news coming out. Angelito, Sunworks. Thank you very much, JP. I appreciate it. All right. Just so you guys know, for anybody who's watching, all right, look at that. That's what I was talking about with this candle forming up. If it comes down and tags the 200 period EMA that we have here, that could act as support for us. Hopefully keeping it from over penetrating, because like I said, if this ends up engulfing that green candle that we have that came before it, then we have a double top resist, and that could reverse the trend on us, and then it could drop off, and we don't want to see that take place. Actually, look right there, it just came down. I wasn't zoomed in before, but now I'm zoomed in on it. You can see it came down and touched the 200 period EMA. This is at 30 minutes at a time. So this is the first 5 minutes into it. So there's still lots of time to see how it's going to behave. But if that does end up holding as, did I say resist? I meant support. If this does end up holding as support for us throughout that next half hour, then we could see a continuation in the upward movement for Sunworks as we go forward from this. And I believe Sunworks is one of the smaller companies that we have in the solar area. Look at that analyst estimate. This hasn't been updated in a while. 80 cents. I remember looking at these price targets before for Sunworks, and there's just got to be so much fundamental value that's priced in beyond what the analysts are currently reporting. There's one analyst covering it at 80 cents per share. But like I said, I think this is pretty old. And let's see if there's news coming out. That's Minecraft delete. Fuel cell energy. Let me see. All right, so they had looks like they had a meeting for stockholders yesterday. Gonna have to see if there's any big news coming out there. Advancements in solar technology represent a boon for the market. Excellent. Okay, and they're joining the Russell Microcap. Excellent. So it sounds like they're doing all the right things, and if they're being added into one of the indices, that can cause buying to occur if there's ETFs that track those indices, and that could be some of the movement that we see, and it is progress for the company. Yeah. Let me zoom out. I want to check out the daily chart on this and see what's going on. Run got some hype today. Excellent. Yeah, look at the continuation in the trend. If we subtract out the run up and the sell off on Sunworks here, there we go. I didn't draw it perfectly, but that gets the idea across, that linear progress that we have. There we go. But yeah, that linear trend that we have, we're pretty well following along it right now. So I would say that as far as risk goes with Sunworks, continuing along that line is something that we could see. And we do have the 50-period SMA coming down to cross our 200 EMA. Let's see what else we see about it. I'm going to get rid of some of that extra stuff. There we go. So yeah, look, we came down, we tagged the 200 EMA. It is sitting flat. It's horizontal. We would like to see that turn around, hopefully sooner than later. This thing bottomed out between 511 and 517, so 513 is right in there. And as I've said before, solar plays have not rebounded as strongly as like some of the EV plays and some of the other high growth and tech plays that we have. So it's nice to see it finally getting some attention. So we see support here. We don't want to return back to those levels. So we want to keep those lows going higher. We want these highs to definitely go higher. If it trades sideways for a while, that's okay too, because then it at least allows us to establish a bottom and we know where we're working from. And then we can watch for the catalyst to happen that would either shove us to the upside or the downside, depending on what sort of news it is and where that pressure sends us. All right, check that out. Yeah, Sunrun is up considerably from where they were at yesterday. So they're actually sitting in between the two. And again, you can see what I'm talking about as far as resistance goes. We almost came up to that 200 period EMA. We don't want to drop below that one. Really, we want to see this curve turn around where we get a positive slope going. So it looks like it's maybe turning flat a little bit-ish here. We want to see the 50 period turn back up towards it and form a golden cross to give us a technical indicator that that we're going to have a trend reversal from this sell-off. And honestly, from those highs, if you drew a straight line coming down this way, diagonally down, we actually finally broke that trend right about here. So when is that? June 11th or so. So I would say anywhere from June 10th to June 14th, somewhere around in there, we started moving upward again with these solar plays in general, at least as far as run goes. But it's a very similar chart to what we have for other solar companies. What else is moving here? KULR Technologies is cooling off. Check out Agent. We should also take a look at some of the crypto and some of the losers. And Angelita says, Vine long term, thank you. Okay. Oh, nice. Look at that W that we got going on there. So we have a nice little cross coming on here. I want to see where that top is. Right around like the 550 mark or so. Yeah. So breaking $5.50 on Agent or Agenus. Am I saying that right? Healthcare, pharmaceuticals, development therapies, engage in body's immune system to fight cancer. Excellent. I've definitely lost too many loved ones to cancer. I've lost 2 uncles within 2 months of each other a couple years back. One had colon cancer, and the other one had liver cancer, and just tragic to watch them go through the battles that they did. And it's definitely that one, what do you want to call it, a disease that can be eradicated sooner than later. All right, so let me see which one was asked for here. ChargePoint does look good, yeah. There you go. I'll be honest, Steve, I almost typed in SBE because I got so used to for such a long time typing in SBE instead of ChargePoint. I love looking at the support of this because there was so much doubt about this company because of all the downward pressure that we had, and ChargePoint's done, it's over, they're old, they're not going to turn profitable. And while the profitability is something that is still to be discussed, they still are the #1 EV charging station supplier that we have, and building out that infrastructure over time. And if they get a lot of that funding coming from the infrastructure plan, those are all good things. We are up over $32 per share today, and look where that top line sits right now. Yeah, we did peekaboo up above it with today's price, but right around like 32.50-ish or so. We need to break significantly up above that in order to break this previous high that we have, and then we have a fair amount of room to run from there until we get up to some of these other highs that we've had. I think that like 36 to 42, let's look at the analyst estimates. Yeah, there's 36.50, actually up to 46 for the high analyst estimate that we have going on here. And we are up above the low, below the average, and we got 6 analysts covering this. I am bullish on ChargePoint, and I think that they are going to remain the leaders in the EV charging space. So watching this come back to strength is absolutely excellent. It does have to rest at some point in time. I don't know when that point's going to be. Our RSI is hitting 70. We are not quite into overbought territory, but we're getting darn close. So we're actually just barely above it, 70.34. And you can see some of those overbought territories that we've had before, such as here. We get into overbought, and then we see it sell off as it returns back into its bullish territory, up above 50, but below 70, and then it continued from there. And then you can see this oversold period. And when you look at the RSI, notice that its momentum continued even through the bearish period. We got these nice high peaks, and then it kind of struggled a little bit in here, but now it's gone up to even higher peaks beyond that yet, and the lows continue to go upward. So those are signs that we can look for, that we get that sort of momentum indicator that it is going to maintain its strength and maintain its run. We actually have a little bit of bullish divergence even across these highs going downward and these highs on the relative strength index, the RSI, going upward, showing us that there should be a reversal in the trend. And that's what's happened recently, is that we did end up having that reversal. This actually reminds me a little bit of what we see going on with Bitcoin. I'll get to Vine in just a moment. I haven't touched crypto yet. There we go. So check out Bitcoin. I talked about this a couple of different times across a couple of different videos, including live streams. And we have a drop in the RSI, and yet we had a buildup in prices for it over time. We had indication that this was losing strength, and that it was, first of all, back here, it was considered overbought during that ramp up period. Still overbought, but less momentum than what it had before, and then still overbought, but barely so. Still bullish, but notice all the while we're losing, and then all the while the prices were gaining. And so that can be bearish divergence for us, showing that there's going to be a reversal or a big sell-off. And then we got that big sell-off, and all it took was a catalyst in order to cause that to happen. And then, well, we just traded sideways for a while until recently. But check out the RSI and how it's differing now. It looks like, let me see, up to about there. So we made it back up over 50. It's currently sitting just below 50. So it's probably settling a little bit here. But the highs that we put in took us back to about here. What's our current price on this? There you go, get that out of the way. So 38,000. If we get up above 44,000, like if we make it to 45,000, I'm going to start to be really excited about the direction that Bitcoin's taking. But right now, while it's still trading under 42,000, while I think 42,000 is good and 44,000 is great, it's above that we really see that. And as far as getting excited about low prices, because I'm bullish on this, buying opportunities for Bitcoin, if it's not below 30,000, I'm not worried about it. As a matter of fact, up here is where we find a lot more support coming in, right around like that $34,000 mark. And so that could be, an area where you could look for that support and maybe some possible buying in order to even make a range play, even if you trade it rather than invest in it, depending on what sort of stance you would take on it. So those are some of the considerations I have when I look at it. If I see this drop below 30, because I am, again, bullish on Bitcoin, that's when I would dip into cash reserves and make a heavier purchase on Bitcoin. And again, I can only speak for myself. I can't speak for anybody else for anything financial, as I am not a financial advisor. So just keep that in mind. Maybe it's just giving you some things to entertain. And if you own Bitcoin yourself, maybe it's some of those things that you could really look at for this and really make those decisions. What's this high at over here? 41,000, yeah. 45,000 puts us right about there to the bottom of that one. Then we have room up to about 46,000. Then we have room up to 50,000. Yeah, so we need to break out of this area if we're actually going to really reverse that. And people keep talking about the this is kind of funny. People talk about this death cross that's oncoming, and some of the recent price actions sort of slowing that death cross's imminent. If you trace it out, it's about here. The funny part about this is that my daughter saw a chart like this the one time, and I called it a death cross, and she said, "No, Dad, it's not a death cross. It's a duck." And then she drew a picture of a duck for me. That very much modeled what we see with the 50 period, the 50-day simple moving average, and this 200-day EMA that we have here, which are two of the indicators I like to use for the larger time frames. So death cross or duck head. And yes, I said duck. Let's see, there we go. Go to Ethereum here. Whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's going to be the sell signal that we all expect. And if it causes us to lose a lot of price, if it drops us down to 30, or even excitedly for me because of how I frame my stance on Bitcoin, it would be an exciting thing to see. Below 30 to me is a buying opportunity because I invest in it and I don't trade it. So look at Ethereum. Ethereum has not had, it's had muted success, we'll call it. Moving into Ethereum 2.0, the fact that we have an increasing amount of people staking in Ethereum 2.0 and trying to solidify that migration, which I think goes until like 2023, 2024 is sort of about where they have it. Those are things that I think are going to really mitigate what we see going on price action wise with Ethereum in the meantime. It still has issues. It's still power hungry. It's still somewhat slow, and it hasn't become the coin that we picture it to be, like with EIP 1559 moving into full swing that we'd have with proof of stake, which would significantly lower the power. And then we would also have sharding coming along after that. I think this is how they prioritized it, where we really start to see those thousands of transactions per second starting to take place and really becoming a viable cryptocurrency for especially like decentralized finance. That's when we're really going to start to see that strength play out. Now, if we go out longer, I think it was it Sunrun that we were looking at, or maybe Sunworks, that linear progression that we have, this almost perfectly fits a nice little trend line with a positive slope. So still bullish, with the exception of this time when we really ramped up in price and we got excited about it, which coincides a lot with what we saw with Bitcoin. And we also saw that fall with Bitcoin and with Ethereum. And now we're sort of settling a little bit. And so I think that we're going to have something happening probably within the next few weeks, one way or the other, with Ethereum or Bitcoin. And who knows what that catalyst is going to be. It could be positive news on the ETFs. As a matter of fact, I think I'll have to check my notes, but I think the Van Eck ETF decision or delay from the SEC is due out today. I think that number is sticking out in my mind that it was today. I have a spreadsheet that I have some of the different people who have tried to open up ETFs for Bitcoin, and Van Eck is one of them. I think it was them, and I think it was today. And so finding out that decision of whether or not they were to open that ETF is going to cause a lot of lot of better access, we'll say, to a lot more trusted markets, and there should be a lot of buying that would center around around cryptocurrency in general. Bitcoin just being part of that, and plus it would open up the gates for access and exposure to some of these other cryptocurrencies like Ethereum as well. I read some of the concerns from some of the people from the SEC that are commenting on these applications, and you know, they are concerned about the volatility and the sort of risk exposure that people would be getting by trading in the regular markets with the cryptocurrencies. All right, so you'll have to check it out. Thank you. All right, Angelito, I've let you wait long enough there. I'm sorry about that. I get excited talking about these things. There you go. And it's about 10:21, so I'm going to have to wrap things up here soon, guys. So I'll take a look at this one, and then we'll close things up for the day, and then I'll be back again tomorrow at 9:15. I'm getting married on Saturday, and so we have company coming today, and that's going to kind of shuffle around some of the places that I have in my house to do my recordings and everything. So just bear with me during that time. It's definitely going to be interesting. I can say that much. All right, so Vine Therapeutics. We're looking at the daily chart here. Well, the nice thing is, when I look at this, and it's weird to call it nice, they're about the lowest that they've ever been. And as far as risk goes, that it doesn't mean that your money won't go to zero, because it looks like they're in a downtrend right here and that they're hurting. But when they're at the lowest that they've ever been, they typically rise up from there, at least in the short term. And I know that you asked me about long term for this one. Oh, thank you very much, Steve. Let's look at the analyst estimates. All right, so analyst estimates, we have a 2x up to the low analyst estimate on this. We have 7 people covering it, the high side up to 15. So we have from about 2x at its current price up to about 5x at its current price. The trouble when you look at this is trading against the trend. And if the trend is your friend, then to me, this is something that I would really have to do a lot of research on it and find compelling evidence that convinces me. Now, first of all, I look at it in 2 ways. One, why would I stay out? And that's really important. So before I make a trade, there's a lot of reasons to doubt and a lot of reasons to protect myself against any risk or anything. You know, I'm doing this for financial freedom and my family's financial future, and that's the whole point of investing. So for me to put a large stake on something like this, I'm hesitant just from the look at the chart before I even get into the fundamentals of the company. So that would be something I'd write that down. I'd be like downtrend, you know, or bearish. Would be just a simple way to start off. That overall, that's looking at this chart the way that it's trading. But we are at the bottom, but you'll notice that, well, let me see, it's the first one in a while and actually took us lower than what we had there. What was the timing like? Middle of February to, wouldn't you know, right around middle of May. So May 11th, May 13th. And it did recover slightly, and it did sell off a little bit like the other ones. So we could see it moving a little bit with other stocks that are in the market. On Therapeutics. Simply Wall Street's a great site. It's not one that I pay the premium for, but they give you a lot of like really awesome information, and I'm certainly not an affiliate of theirs. But if you haven't ever checked them out, you can check them out, and they give you a lot of really good information, including like insider buying and selling, and just how their financials stack up and everything. So you can check that out. So let me see. This is from 6-7 finance registration. We're just trying to see if there's one. Right here, they talk about insider selling. So insider selling, really, I see 2 main reasons why I have insider selling. First of all, it could be that the insiders themselves are jumping ship, that they don't see, that they're not confident about the position of their company. And that's usually why it's seen as a negative thing. Be like, well, if the people in the company don't even believe in it, then why would I buy it? But that's just one reason why it's seen as negative. Another time that you give insider selling is that some people are just taking some of their money that they have rights to. And that wouldn't necessarily be a negative sentiment. So it could be about who's selling, how much they're selling. So that would definitely be something to look into as far as jotting down for that bearish case as to saying, should I get into this or should I not get into this? HC Wainwright thinks Vine Therapeutics stock is going to recover. Okay, so as of last month, so that would be interesting to read up about that as well. So I would take a look in to see what they have to say about why they think that it's going to recover. And if they do recover, it looks like they have. It looks like they, and I don't know how recent these price targets are, but they have a lot of upside potential. But keep in mind where they're at. They're in healthcare, pharmaceuticals, being in the therapeutic space. There's a lot of upside potential, but that's assuming that whatever it is that they're treating or the service that they're providing really does happen to get whatever approval it needs, or that it does happen to take the market share that it's supposed to, or that has intellectual property, some sort of proprietary rights. And those are all things that you would want to know prior to making any sort of decision for the long-term outlook to trade in this. It would certainly be a fundamental play. The technical play, when I look at this right now, if I was going to do this from a technical perspective, I would sooner short it than I would go long on it. And I'm not talking in the company crushing short way, because I don't do that. What I'm saying is taking short-term stock action, price action, and actually using that to my advantage to make money. My position certainly wouldn't be market changing in the first place. We could see signs of a reversal. I think that, like I said, it would be on fundamentals would be what you would be looking for. And if it is a place where they need like FDA approvals and stuff, looking to see when that expected date for FDA action is something that could really help you identify the timing on this and the catalyst on this, and where you could look for more confirmation for what they do. Also, PR, white papers, and any other research that would happen to come out surrounding their company. All right, I just wanted to take a quick look here at Arcimoto. They're having a decent day. I mean, just on the daily chart alone, we have room. Where did we top out there? Again, 9th of June, that was when a lot of these stocks that were finally rallying started to sell off a little bit and cool off a little bit. And I don't think that Arcimoto cooled off all the way. So one of the people in my Discord was talking about they do actually have their vehicles in production. And I've mentioned this yesterday, if you joined me yesterday, that I do like Arcimoto because it's efficient. And what I mean by that is, like, I make a lot of runs to like the grocery store myself, that I don't really take passengers with me. So I wouldn't need a multi-passenger vehicle in order to do that. And it's a short range trip. And so there's no sense firing up something that is set for long range, that's set for huge capacities, when I could do a lot more with a lot less. And that's the basics of the philosophy around the vehicle that they've created. And I've also heard from that same Discord member, our Patreon member, that who's in my Discord, that right now in California, I think it is, that you need a motorcycle license in order to drive it. You can fact check that. So if it requires a special license versus a normal driver's license for whatever state, and it must go state by state in the United States, that can certainly mitigate the amount of potential buyers. I don't have a motorcycle license. My brother does, but he's probably not interested in what they have, just because of what I know about my brother. And, would that be enough for me to get my motorcycle license? Could I even do it using Arcimoto's vehicles? Those would be all things, because I'm not coordinated. I should not be on something on two wheels besides a bicycle. Anything high speed is just not for me. Open rental site in San Diego are looking to open rental space in Florida by July. Excellent. Very nice. All right. Thank you very much, Will. All right, guys. I'm going to wrap things up here for the day. I always aim for 10 o'clock, and I always end up going over. I get excited about this, and I like looking around, and I like talking with you guys. So thank you very much for participating in the comments, and good luck to you in your trading. And if you found this helpful and you liked it, go ahead and hit the like button. And if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for all the support that you show. Just you being here makes me feel like what I do matters, and that's important to me. So thank you, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And when you guys see me coming back the next week, I'll be a married man. My hand will be just a little bit heavier than it was, though my heart should be a lot lighter. So yeah, thank you, Tarek. I appreciate it. Have a great day, guys. See you later.